Hi, welcome to this video tutorial of servo motor. So here I am going to tell you about what is a servo motor, how does it functions, and what is the operating principle behind the servo motor. So first let us see how the servo motor looks. This is a cross-sectional view of the servo motor. As you can see, it is not a simple DC motor. We have many gears in it and there are some controllers inside it. Actually, servo motor has its own controller so that it can know its own position. We will see later on why these controllers are for and what is the gear used for. So first let us see what is the functioning of a servo. So servo motor is a type of motor whose position is decided by the controller inside it, which in turn depends upon the user signal code. That means we can specify the angle to the servo motor and the servo motor will actually be constant on that angle, and this angle we have specified in our code. That means the code that we have written specifies the angle that the controller perceives as a signal, and this signal is kept constant to the controller by our microcontroller so that it is constantly on that position. It is constantly locked on that position. Also, it is always at its highest torque and speed because the position that it is locked on is to be retained, and for that it has to apply its maximum torque, and if it's not in its position then it will employ its maximum speed to come over there. Now from the servo we have three wires coming out. One is the VCC, the one is the ground, and third is the PWM. As we can see, VCC and ground are actually the pins who supply power to the servo motor, and PWM pin is actually the pin which gives the encoded signal to the servo motor for the angle to which it has to be locked. Now the principle of a working of the servo motor. Now servo motor is actually a geared DC motor employing feedback control. So servo motor is nothing else but a DC motor along with a geared mechanism so that it can step up its torque while stepping down its speed. So a great powered speed DC motor can be like geared, and then due to the inverse proportional ratio between the torque and the speed can be stepped down, and equivalently the torque can be stepped up, and in this way the servo motor can acquire good speed also and good torque also. Now how does it actually defines its own position, and how does it actually knows what the user wants it to do? So actually it works like a potentiometer, that there is a shaft that gives an analog voltage to the controller in it, which tells the servo motor, which tells the controller of the servo motor that at which position is the servo. For example, it is locked at the 90-degree position and it will give something like 2.5 volt to the controller, and suppose it's at 180 degree, then it will give 5 volt. I'm just giving an example. It's not compulsory that these voltage apply to every servo motor, but for an example I'm telling, for 90 degree it may be 2.5 volt, and for 180 degree it may be 5 volt. So in this way, due to the analog voltage and the op-amp comparison in its controller, it comes to know what is the current position of the servo motor, and similarly whatever the user gives the output through the controller to the controller of the servo motor is given in terms of PWM, so that we can generate a voltage that we want. For example, if we want it to be locked at 90 degrees, so we want 2.5 volt to be generated. So through PWM we will generate such a pulse that it will generate 2.5 volt, and it will, so as it has generated 2.5 volt, so the controller will know that okay, now I have to go to 2.5 volt, and it will actually gear the motor shaft towards the position of 90 degrees. So in this way the error signal actually gives the servo controller to actually get back to the original position or the desired position, whatever the user wants. So in this way the servo motor works. Thank you.